Hey everybody, it's believe it or not a windy, wintry day here in Hawaii. So you may hear the wind blowing in the background. But I just wanted to kind of revisit some topics that I've talked about before. I had a patient on the phone last night, and he was, going through some difficult times, and we tried some things to talk about at the last visit, but he called me back up and he said, I'm running out of my buprenorphine. I increased my dose, and so far, he had been tapering down, and he needed to use more again. And while I told him, that's better than relapsing and things could be a lot worse, it's not ideal to go back up on the buprenorphine when you're feeling, like you're in an emotionally stressful situation, because that just reinforces the need to use a chemical to deal with stress or emotional discomfort or whatever, and we're trying to get away from that. So I introduced him to this idea that I've been using for a while, and that is when somebody's tapering down, a lot of the times as they're getting up and getting ready to go after a visit, I'll shake their hand and I'll say to them, in the nicest way possible, I hope something a little bit shitty happens to you. And the idea with that is that I don't want them to have some catastrophic problem that's going to cause them to relapse, but I want people to test where they are in recovery. And for this particular person, something a little bit shitty happened, and it turns out that his buprenorphine use increased. And so, and that lets us know that he is still got some work to do in his progress, and that it's easy to go back to using a chemical to try to solve some problems. And so, if any of you guys ever hear from me, or if you're not a patient of mine and you're tapering down, and you're wondering well, how is this going to go? Well, you'll find out when something a little bit shitty happens. And if you find that your craving increases, that your use of the buprenorphine increases, or you relapse, which would be, not unusual, but certainly that would be the worst scenario. Obviously, you're not broken. It's just, you're just not as far along in the process as you may have thought or wanted to be. But that's fine. Just every once in a while, I got to check where I'm in the process, and there's no roadmap. So just revel in the hard times as a test. See where I am in this process. How good am I in my recovery? I have a patient right now going through a divorce, doing pretty well. Not going up on the buprenorphine, still planning on tapering off in the near future, has come a long way, and that's great. And other people, may be struggling a little bit more in those same circumstances, but that is not a sign of futility. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to make progress. It just means that either what they're doing right now to build their skills is not sufficient, or that they're just earlier in the process, or whatever. And so try not to get down on yourself. Try not to take a negative view of, when you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That is the process. And so only by getting through tough times, recognizing that you can deal with it or that you can't, that's how you find out where you are in the process of recovery. And then hopefully things do go well and you don't relapse, and your buprenorphine dose is stable and you're feeling even more positive. Wow, 2 years ago I would have relapsed hard, and now I didn't even go up on my buprenorphine dose. I'm ready to taper off, or at least continue to taper off and see how things go. So that's the idea. Sometimes shitty things happen. It's completely unavoidable. And to just take buprenorphine and to not get involved in any type of recovery is trouble, because eventually something shitty is going to happen. If you don't build the coping skills necessary to deal with it, you're going to relapse, because taking buprenorphine doesn't teach you how to deal with adversity. It just keeps you out of withdrawal. Buprenorphine is not recovery in a bottle. It's not recovery in pill form. It keeps you out of withdrawal so you can engage in a recovery program that works for you. Make sure you're engaged in it. When shitty things happen, use that as a learning opportunity. See what kind of progress you made. Keep a positive outlook. If you've made a little bit of progress, great. If you haven't, then something's wrong with the program you're in. And just maybe it's a different counselor, maybe it's a different group, maybe whatever. It's not the case that every single NA group or every single whatever counselor, certified substance abuse counselor, is the right person for everybody. So don't get down on yourself, and look forward to the shitty times, because that's how you know you're making progress. So good luck out there, and thanks for listening again. Bye now.